Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. My name is Reagan. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something super exciting. We're talking about my summer TBR. Yes, I have made a reading journal spread of my summer TBR and it is sitting right in front of me, as well as the stack of books that I have on my summer TBR here. I have a few books that aren't actually in the stack, and it is because they are new releases that are coming out. Two of them I think are next week. I'm normally a mood reader and I am normally a seasonal reader, so I love a good seasonal book, anything that's themed around the season that I'm in. This summer I'm trying to keep my options open. I have a lot of different things, different genres on this TBR, and I would like to keep my reading branched out because I feel like every summer I feel like one, I get into a reading slump, and two, I read exclusively contemporary romance. And I think maybe those two things are correlated because I love contemporary romance, but I can only read so many in a row before I'm like, okay, I gotta switch it up. This is getting a little repetitive. I'm already starting to feel the summer slump. I don't know what it is about summer, but I have the most time to read and I never ever do it. I think because reading is like procrastinating a little bit for me. Like if I'm supposed to be doing something productive, I'd rather be reading. But when I have nothing to do, reading feels productive. And I'm like, I actually don't want to do that. I'm really trying to keep the summer slump at bay. Let's go through this big stack of 15 books. I'm going to tell you about the two releases that are coming out soon, those two first, and then we're going to go through this physical stack of books. The first one is Light Wielder by Rachel Snyder. This is the second book in the Fire and Metal series. I don't know if it's a duology. It might actually be a duology. This is either the concluding book or we have a lot more to go. I'm not sure. I don't remember. The first book was Metal Slinger by Rachel Snyder, and this is like a very summery fantasy. So if you're looking for a fantasy to read this summer, I would say this. It's set it's not pirates, but it's like on the sea. Essentially, the kingdom that we start out in is like a series of islands, but kind of like man-made islands. So they are literally living in the middle of the sea. And then every so often they have to sail into ports to go and get supplies from another country to be able to live. And our FMC goes on one of these trips and then catches the attention of a guard, and things kind of go awry. And she starts essentially a war between these two kingdoms. And we go from there. I want to say I really loved this book. I think the twist was obvious. I really did enjoy my time here, but I think the second book has potential to be way better for me. I really enjoyed it. So I thought I'd go into the second one this summer. I'm hoping it'll come out in paperback, but if it doesn't, I'll try and get it on Kindle or on audio and then buy the paperback copy because they have to match. But yeah, I'm very excited about Light Wielder and reading it this summer, hopefully by a body of water. As with all of these books, hopefully by a body of water. If it's a pool, a lake, the beach, I don't care. Just put me by a body of water this summer and put a book in my hands, and hopefully I can keep the slump at bay. Okay, the second and final new release that I have on this TBR that is yet to be released is Harvest Season by Brynne Weaver. Now this is technically a fall themed book, but I love Brynne Weaver with all my heart, and this book I think is coming out next Tuesday, so in June. My goal for this is to read this when I'm craving fall, towards the end of summer in August, where it's still probably going to be 90 degrees here in North Carolina, but I'm like, oh my god, just give me that cold weather already. So that is kind of the vibe I want for this book. I read the first book in this series, Taurus Season, last year. Oh yes, I think last year. It is a summer themed book, so if you're looking for a Brynne Weaver or like a dark romantic comedy to read this summer on the beach, I would totally recommend Taurus Season. It takes place in a little small town, a small beach town per se, and everyone knows everyone here. We have our FMC who's lived here for a while, is kind of trusted by the town, and our MMC who's coming into town to kill our FMC. She doesn't know that, and no one else in town knows that. So he's kind of like the outlier, the stranger in this touristy summer town. They end up having to work together because there's actually something fishy going on. Anyways, so Harvest Season is the second book in that series. And might I add, I'm pretty sure it's a continuation of the first book. The first book left off on a cliffhanger, so it's not like your normal contemporary dark romance series where like each book follows a different couple. No, I'm pretty sure this book is following the same couple as the first one because we had a cliffhanger. So I'm really excited to get to that one as well towards the end of summer, and I think I'm gonna pick up Taurus Season and read like the last 50 pages for a little bit of a refresher about what kind of went down before I go into this one. Let's get on to our stack of these physical books. All of the physical books that I would like to get to this summer. So all of these are technically on my physical TBR, which means I'm really trying to prioritize getting through my physical TBR. It's really out of hand and I actually can't stop. I cannot stop buying books. It's a problem. The first book out of this physical stack is In Her Own League by Liz Tom Ford. I don't really know how you say it. I actually have finished all of her backlist as far as I know. If that only includes the Mile High series, then yes. If it doesn't, and includes more things, then no, I actually haven't finished her backlist. I am very excited to go into this next one because we kind of know our characters from the previous books, and this book, like, first of all, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. Other than that, I really don't know, and I'd like to go in kind of blind because I already know a little bit from the other books in the series. I really don't know much about any of these, and I'm gonna say that repeatedly. I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is technically a science fiction dystopian, technically, I think. I know what this is about because, actually, spoiler alert, I already have read this. I've already ticked off 2 books on my summer TBR, and it is only June 6th, I think, is today. I did read this on the beach. It was a great experience. This is about 40 women who are trapped in an underground bunker, and they have no idea why they're there. Our main character is the youngest in the bunker. She actually has no memory of the outside world. One day, the guards disappear, and they are let out into the world, and they're really trying to figure out, like, why are they in this bunker? Where did everyone go? What's going on? This is actually a modern classic. It was written in the, I always forget this, written in the 80s or in the 50s. A little bit to do with World War II and Jacqueline Hartman's experience in and around World War II. I really loved reading this on the beach. I think the funnest thing about reading this on the beach was, like, I'm sitting here in front of this body of water. Everyone around me is relaxing, napping, and I'm, like, thinking about the human condition and what our purpose here is on Earth. I found that I kind of really like to have a good introspective read on the beach because it keeps my mind busy. Like, I have a hard time just laying there. I get bored. I would recommend for your summer, and I already got to take this off of my summer TBR, which I made this list like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then I've obviously been reading since then. So next we have The Thrashers by Julie Soto. I love Julie Soto. I actually found out that I think that this is a re-release, like a re-release cover, but this was actually published, copyright, actually 2025. Never mind. Julie Soto has written one of my favorite romances ever, Not Another Love Song, and then also a really, really good Dramini retelling, kind of, not retelling, but it's based off a fanfic that she wrote about Hermione, and now it's been turned into a book, Rose and Chains. I really enjoyed both of those books by her, so I'm excited to try her young adult thriller. Very different genre here. I don't know anything about it. It's blurred by Ali Hazelwood. I actually am going to read the back of this real quick because I have no idea what it's about. Welcome to the Thrashers, the elite friend group of New Helvetia High. They're everything everyone wants to be. Jodie Dillon was never meant to be one of them. Jillian, Lucy, Paige, and the infamous Zach Thrasher are rich, sophisticated, and love attention. Jodie feels out of place, but Zach's her childhood best friend, so she's in. Then Emily Mills, who desperately wanted to be a Thrasher, dies, and the whispers about the Thrashers begin. As Emily's journal surfaces, detectives close in, and Jodie faces an impossible choice: betray her friends or protect herself. But as eerie messages and strange occurrences escalate, it becomes clear Emily isn't done with them yet. Ali Hazelwood says, a deeply important book by my favorite writer. I'm actually very excited about this. I would love to read this again by the pool. I think it's going to be really, hopefully, fast-paced, and as always, I'll enjoy Julie Soto's writing. So I don't actually have many thrillers on my TBR. I have 1 horror and then The Thrashers. I only have 2 thrillers to kind of pick from the sum, actually 3. I also have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I'm not a huge thriller reader. I feel like I kind of tend to guess the plot twist, and I don't like to be scared. Every once in a while I'll pick up a thriller, and that's going to be my thriller for the summer. Then we have Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. This is another one where I'm hoping it'll get me thinking while I'm sitting on the beach. I actually got this while I was in Paris. It was signed by the author because there was the release of the French version of this book or her other book. I don't remember, but there was a French release, and she was in Paris. She went to a book signing and went to the bookstore a few days later and actually got a signed copy, so that was amazing. I actually don't really know what this is about. It's set in New York. I know that just from peeping the back of the book, but really what drew me to this is always the cover. Coco Mellors covers actually are gorgeous, and I love them, and that's kind of the only draw. So I don't really know what this is about. I'm not gonna know what this is about until I pick it up. I don't even know if I've heard anything about this book. Like, I see it all over Instagram and I see people holding it. I don't know if I've actually heard anyone's conclusive thoughts. If you stick around to the end of the summer, maybe I can give you some conclusive thoughts because I really don't know what it's about. I'm starting to sweat. It's freaking hot. Next we have Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. Spoiler alert, I actually I started this morning, and I've only gotten 10 pages in, so don't get too excited. I don't have any really conclusive thoughts on this. My only conclusive thought is I despise these sprayed edges. I feel like I have a habit and a tradition of reading Elsie Silver in the summer on the beach. I'm not on the beach right now, but I kind of got the urge to like, I want an addictive summer read that really just keeps me going. So this is why I picked up this morning, because I feel like Elsie Silver's books just go so quickly. This one is definitely the most dense Elsie Silver book that I've ever picked up. It's it's not very long, but the pages are like Bible pages. They're so thin. I don't know if you can tell, they're so thin and delicate. So I'm like, okay, there's a lot of content in this book. In the little author's note of sorts, she said this is her favorite book that she's ever written. So I'm very interested to see. We have a cowboy. I'd like to confirm we have a cowboy. So the cowboy romance is back. Now, I don't know how much cowboying he's going to be doing based on like what I've read so far. You know, I'm always down. I'm always down for a good cowboy vibe. And I'm hoping that's what this is going to give. I'm hoping that I'm so addicted to this and I fly through it. And also we have some cover art in the front. Admittedly, not my favorite cover art that I've seen from Elsie Silver. I'm not really loving the vibe of the man. TBH, like I'm just ignoring him and I'm looking at her. This is another fantasy. We have Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen. This is the first book in a fantasy series. All I know about this is that it's set on an island and there's like a little narrow part in between these like two islands, and it kind of like links these two opposing kingdoms. Our MMC and our FMC are from each of those kingdoms. So they're like rivals, enemies. So it like is like an island, a chain of islands. That's why I put this on the summer TBR, because this is a fantasy book that I'm like, I'm reading this during summer. It's kind of giving like Avatar a little bit. Like the cover, it looks like the floating mountains and like the plants are tropical. It's giving tropical. Other than that, I don't know much. So let's read the back together. A warrior princess trained in isolation. Laura is driven by two certainties. The first is that King Aaron of the Bridge Kingdom is her enemy. And the second is that she'll be the one to bring him to his knees. Through a storm-ravaged world, the Bridge Kingdom of Ithaca enriches itself and deprives its rivals, including Laura's homeland. So when she's sent there as a bride under the guise of peace, Laura is prepared to do whatever it takes to fracture its impenetrable defenses and the defenses of its king. Yet as she infiltrates her new home and gains a deeper understanding of the war to possess the bridge, Laura begins to question whether she's the hero or the villain. As her feelings for her husband transform from hostility to fierce passion, Laura must choose which kingdom she'll save and which she'll destroy. Actually, reading the back sometimes is healthy, because I was like, wow, after reading the back of this, I'm like, okay, I'm itching to pick this up. This is a good one. Also, like I say this all the time, but holding a book in your hands, like manhandling a book in your hands, makes you want to read it. At least it makes me want to read it. Like every time I do one of these like TBR videos, or if I'm going through my books and like reorganizing and I'm like manhandling the book, it makes me like, oh yeah, I really, really do actually want to read that. One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a book that I got from my friend Leah, which I talk about all the time. And it's actually an annotated copy. I'm not sure if Leah was the one who annotated this or if it was like one of her friends. Like I don't remember. She was like, oh, it has annotations in it, and I was like, okay, word. So like some writing, and it looks like there's some highlights, some notes and whatnot. So it's an annotated copy. I've never read an annotated copy of a book that wasn't my own annotations. And I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read almost all of her books except for the 3 backlists that were before Daisy Jones and Evelyn Hugo. I kind of got put on to TJR in, I want to say middle school. I read Daisy Jones for the first time when I was doing BookTube, I think in middle school. Crazy story. I found an arc of Daisy Jones and the Six and I picked it up. I have an arc of Daisy Jones. I didn't receive the arc, obviously, because I was a middle school aged booktuber that literally no one watched. So I obviously didn't receive the arc, but I do have an arc of Daisy Jones and the Six. So that might put me on someone's rob list, but you know, I actually don't even know how many copies they sent out of that. Like who was getting that and putting it in my used bookstore? And also they're not supposed to sell arcs. So I don't know who like went through and named like that as a sellable book, but somehow it got in there and somehow I have it. Since then, I've read every single one of her new releases except for Carrie Soto is back. I think I didn't want to pick it up because of tennis, but I actually just recently went to the French Open and actually I really am obsessed with tennis right now. So it probably would be a great time to pick that up and read it. So if I see that in a used bookstore anytime soon, I will pick it up. This is one of the books I haven't read by Taylor Jenkins Reid, her 3 like romance novels that I haven't picked up. So I'm very excited to explore this. I don't know literally anything about it, but I'm excited. Next, we have this hefty fantasy book that really doesn't scream summer in the slightest, but this is City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. Why did I pick this summer? Because I'm about to finish the Legacy series by Melissa K. Rorick, and I said once I finish the Legacy series that I would pick up this series, and that would be the next thing that I kind of adventured into. Urban fantasy series, I believe. Like it's kind of set in present day where they have like cell phones and modern technology technology. There's also like vampires and werewolves and mythical creatures and whatnot. I'm very excited to start this. The House of Devil series is huge. There's 4 books out and I have all 4, I believe. I've heard that it's like better than Crescent City. And Crescent City is really the only urban fantasy that I have to compare because I haven't read a whole bunch of urban fantasy. That's kind of a blind spot in my reading. I'm excited to start this 700-page book. Yes, I just checked. It's over 700 pages. I love a thick book. Like I love a meaty book that I can hold on to. I love how I'm like objectifying the books. Like if you can just grab and manhandle the book, yeah. A meaty book. I love a meaty book. Next, this is actually the other book that I've already read, and it is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. It's going to be coming out in a vlog soon, my thoughts, my feelings. It's my vacation vlog while I was in Greece. This actually was such a good beach read, and I'm so glad that I put it on my summer TBR. First of all, the cover, absolutely loving this. You either have to read this in summer or in February. This book was actually adorable. It was one of those books that made you think like everyone's living life for the first time. Everyone is a human being and they have thoughts and feelings and they love people. I think the only thing that I didn't love about this book is one storyline. I kind of wanted more from that specific storyline because there's so many storylines weaved throughout this book. If you don't know, it's a series of letters and we're following Sybil Van Antwerp. I don't know why I had such a hard time saying her name, but Sybil Van Antwerp is an older lady. She has had this whole life, and throughout her whole life, one constant thing that has been with her is her correspondence. Emails, letters to people she loves, to people she doesn't know, to authors, to political figures. She will write a letter and address it to anyone. We are following her life through these letters, and you really, really do get to know her. I think I was a little bit put off at first, the fact that it was only through letters. Like, how do you get to know someone? Only through reading their letters, but this story felt real. Like, it feels like someone that could be your neighbor. And I think I love that. It feels so small, but also so large. As much as it's small to be following one woman's life in the scheme of like the world and all the problems that we have, it makes the world feel so small because we really are just people. Like we really are just humans and we all love people and we all regret things and have things we wish to learn about ourselves or things we learn a little bit too late. And I don't know, it was a very humanizing book for Sybil. And then also when you look around after you close this book, you look around at everyone around you and you're like, wow, people are just living their lives. The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I always get this title wrong. Another thing I deeply despise, I don't know if you can see, but deckled edges. What evil human being does this? Like, it looks sick. I'm not gonna lie, it looks sick. It is a physical impossibility to turn these pages, like actually. This cover is beautiful, obviously, as all of Jessa's covers are, and I'm really excited to get to this one. I think this could be my favorite Jessa book that I've read so far. The thing I've noticed about Jessa books is that I always feel so deeply. I feel the emotions of the characters. I'm there. I'm so there with them. But I deeply hate every single character of every single Jessa book that I've read. Like, I don't like you. I know we are supposed to be rooting for these characters. And in some ways, I'm rooting for them. But in some ways, I'm like, it's like watching a plane crash. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but it's like watching a car crash. Hard to watch, but you can't look away. Maybe that's a terrible analogy and I'm a bad person for making that analogy. Like a train, it's like a freaking, why can't I make any other analogy that isn't a transportation crash? I fear that this one's going to be no different. I think it could be my favorite because I think it's more familial, which maybe doesn't make sense, but I know it's about a sister and a brother and they have a crush on the same guy. I think like a lot of religious trauma, which also is a topic that I'm deeply interested in, like religion in general. I love a book that explores like generational religious trauma. So I think this could be a really good Jessa book for me. And I also am scared that it's going to be like the same as every other Jessa book. Like, I hate all of you, but also get it together, please. Next book we have is My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I'm really excited and also terrified to read this book. And I think that's why I keep putting it off, because I know that this is probably going to break my heart. I'm scared of crying. I don't like it. And I think this book is going to make me cry. Therefore, I've put it off. I've never read a Frederick Bachman book before. And that's another reason I'm scared, because I don't know what to expect. All I know is that everyone and their mother cries. So many people talk about this book and talk about this author, and I'm just terrified. And that's all I kind of have to say about this book, because I don't really know what else there is to say. The next and last 2 books in this stack are actually part of the series, and this series is, I actually don't know what it's called, Shield of Sparrows, book 1, and Rights of the Starling, book 2. Rights of the Starling just recently came out, I think in April. I read Shield of Sparrows around this time last year and absolutely adored it when it was going around and doing its rounds on Book Talk. I picked up Rights of the Starling while I was still in Europe on my Kindle, and I started reading and I was like, this starts off exactly where Shield of Sparrows left off. I don't remember a thing. That's not true. I remember a lot of it, but I think that I want to do a reread because I know it will hit harder if I do a reread and I really have it fresh in my brain. And also I really love Shield of Sparrows and I really want to reread it and see how I feel about it upon the reread. And I'm gonna do it back to back. Like I'm putting down Shield of Sparrows, immediately picking up the second book. And why in summer, I don't know. Just because I don't think I can wait to read Rights of the Starling until the fall. And I have them both right now and I'm like, why would I wait? Okay, so after all of that, these are the 15 books that I am reading this summer. I hope maybe you got some ideas for books that you'd like to read this summer. And if not, I hope at least this video motivated you to go pick up a book and read. Thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoy bookish content, if you enjoy my bookish content, you should like, comment, and subscribe. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, which is actually like fucking insane and I can't believe it. I love you all. I will see you when I see you. I think I'm posting this on a Wednesday, which I normally only post on Sundays, but I've been floating the idea of two vlogs a week or 2 videos a week. Let me know if you like that idea. That's it from me today, book besties. So I hope you enjoyed. I love you all. Bye.